Like someone's here. Alright, so welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner, Classic Let's Known Classics. This is episode number 3099, Doubleshot 2993. First, I'm discussing Amethyst, Volume 2, Issues 12 to 16, along with the special, which concludes this volume. Now, let me clarify with the whole thing, the creative team in this book. Now, Dan Mush and Gary Coleman, they were pretty much writers of the entire previous volume. They would stay on as the writers of the next volume for the first 8 issues. Though, basically, Gary Coleman would be there for the first 11. Dan Mushkin would actually leave with issue number 8. Why? I don't know. Also, Ernie Colin, who had pretty much been the artist of the previous volume, he actually is not there for the first 8 issues. We have Rick Estrada doing pretty much issues 1 through 3, 5, 6, and 7. 4 is done by Kurt Salzberger. Dan Jurgens, like I mentioned last episode, he did the artwork for issue number 8. For the remaining issues, Eric Cohen does come back for issue 9, and he's there for pretty much the rest of the run. He does skip issue 12. 12 is done by the awesome Colleen Doran. Also, Gary Cohen would leave with issue number 11. If you're really curious, would he return? No. With issue 12, he gets to play with Mindy Newell. And in 13, we have Robert L. Fleming and Keith Giffen basically doing the writing for that issue. And the next issue, the Mindy will come back for the last 2 issues of this book. And with Keith Giffen, of course, they would do the first story in this, the first story in the special. Second story is done by Mindy Newell and the late Lee Wein. Ernie Cohen would do basically his last artwork he did for Amethyst with the special. He did the first story and the second one. So a lot of the remaining issues is simply put basically Amethyst basically battling, like, it's more fantasy stuff here. Basically, she's also dealing with the love she has for Prince Topaz. Well, in a way, basically, he's already married to Lady Turquoise. Yeah, and she's basically a star. She's been in the previous volume. She's there for pretty much a lot of the work. Yeah. Yeah, and after an issue where you have the writing artists basically being, well, women, next issue is a tie-in to Crisis on Earth where Dr. Fate shows up, making him the second DC character to appear in this book. Because Amethyst has been confined to her own book. She's never had any guest stars. But Dr. Fate is the first ever guest star in her book, who is basically a DC character. And this issue was reprinted in the Crisis on Earth Companion Deluxe issue number 3. And the whole thing of him being here, and he's here for just this one issue, and then it's right back to it. Also, the character Corleen, who been pretty much the main villain of this, but he was destroyed, but he later came back. Yeah. And Dark Opal, the main villain of the first volume, he gets resurrected in this issue. Kind of. But he's only back in this book for the last, well, few issues. And then killed once again. Also got named Rita Beckman. Yeah, she turns basically she turns villain. Of course, we're all these princesses basically to destroy Dark Elf. Yeah, the first appearance of Child of Flaw. Yeah, I do like Keith Gibbons' writing here. It's basically it's like he has experience writing some supernatural stuff. Now, of course, yes, we would not have any more. Then the series would end issue 16, but the story itself will conclude in the special. Which, yes, Child of Flaw basically. Now, would the special be their last appearance when it comes to Amethyst? Or will they return the next volume? They do return the next volume. And they basically Child does return after this one. As for Flaw, Flaw himself will also in the next volume as well. Yeah, and basically in a way, like I said, this story pretty much wraps up this version of Amethyst for about a year. Yes, of course, basically the book will return roughly like 1 year later, as a miniseries. Oh yeah, definitely. As for the last few issues of volume, these issues were really good. Lots of good battles here. Just a really fun book. I got these issues roughly a 9 out of 10. Final thoughts, Amethyst Volume 2. Really interesting volume. And it's like, excuse me, okay, that, like I said before, the only reason why they made this ongoing because first volume was successful. This probably wasn't as successful as the previous volume financial wise. That's probably the reason why it ended with 16 issues, including a special of all things. Yes, a special. But still a good book overall. Now, next to discuss Amethyst will be the next volume for the series. Next up, basically have is Zatanna. Yep, let me show up the special here of this one. Released in 1987. A triple-sized adventure. Yep. Mostly put is Zatanna preparing for a show, and this book was written by so say that this issue takes place. This story takes place prior to events of Just Like America issues 248 to 247. I think it was like a story involving her mom. I think so, yes. This is kind of in a way her first individual book she ever had. It's written by Jerry Conway, art by Gary Morrow. I mean, he has this woman named Alora, who is basically like kind of like an evil version of Zatanna. Now you might think, was this special her debut? No, she made a debut in Just America 51, and she has returned to this book. Yes, definitely. She would return. She actually made another return of this in Secret Origins. It's come a year later. Yeah, just a villain for her for this issue. And it takes place prior to Just America 248. But the special stuff was really interesting, and of course she gets a visit from her mother, Shadila, who actually was a one-shot character coming created. Now, I think for the longest time people didn't know who her mom was, and Jerry Conway basically just created this woman to be a species called Homo Magi. Basically, they're magic-based creatures, and somehow Zatanna is one of that species, kind of. But It's a very interesting one-shot. But now on to... Now on to Zatanna, Volume 1. Yep. They came out in 1991, roughly, actually in 1983, roughly about 6 years after this one-shot came out. And this book is written by Lee Mars and Esban Mentor, who also is the inking as well. Mostly put, she also had appearances by John Constantine. Basically, she takes on this person known as Tarnak. Yeah, he's a character from Famed Stranger who appeared in this book. And he's pretty much the main villain of this whole miniseries. He does skip one issue. He skips issue 2. Yeah, he's not in issue 2, but he's in issue 1. 2, of course, basically is Zatanna fighting demons. But it's a really cool miniseries. And maybe the reason why they never gave her ongoing at this point, maybe there wasn't much basically push DC to give her ongoing until like 2010. Despite her being a very popular character at DC Comics. I'm sure a lot of people had a lot of respect for the character, a lot of the creators did, but my guess is maybe the higher ups probably like, nah, not at this point. And the fact we had to wait until 2010 for an ongoing is kind of a shame. Though, of course, she's had some miniseries since then. Yeah, that's the weird thing about it, is that after this miniseries wrapped up, like, pretty much basically we would not get another standard book again for 17 years. Actually, no. There was that one release 10 years later. Excuse me. Then it was the Seven Soldiers book, which was released in 2005. But 10 years not bad, but anything basically just goes in with a subtitle with it, basically until 2010. But they did release a one-shot miniseries. But since then, we've had 1, 2, 3 miniseries, and I think this book is, yeah, the current book published right now, which is done by Jamal Campbell. Yep, DC Gamer book, in which I'm so happy they did this. Yeah, first time we had this title come back as just Zatanna since 2011. 14 years later. Now, with this, basically, I've now kind of discussed the special. The very first special you have in the 80s. This miniseries, Everyday Magic, 7 Soldiers Victory, 7 Soldiers, and now this, and of course, Zatanna Volume 2. What's left? Roughly a few miniseries. Just House of Secrets, Bring in the House, The Reaper, which I don't know if this was reprinted. Oh, it was. I think this one is set in a different universe. Yeah, this is a White Family Avengers book. So I think like the only books I really have to worry about is, well, obviously Bringing Down the House, which I read it. It was actually really good. House of Secrets, one shot. Probably next thing I'll discuss what I was saying, Bringing Down the House. That's probably the next thing to discuss. But what ranking do I give these two books? I give the Zatanna Special a 9 out of 10. The miniseries, give that 8.5. Yeah, that's the sad gist of it. But hey, I'm glad if I got to discuss these two books. Yep. So yeah, that's a good particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. So next up, basically, is my review for Red Ranger's Adventure in Another World. Bye.